Hello dear students, good morning. So today we are going to start the next part of the chapter Lost Spring written by Anis Jung. So here is the second part starting from this sentence. I want to drive a car. Who says this? Mukesh. Earlier in the previous part, the discussion was made between Anis Jung and rag picker whose name was Sahib Alam. Now Mukesh insists on being his own master. So here Mukesh insists, means he pressurizes, he wanted to be his own master. I will be a motor mechanic, he announces. So he declares that one day he will be becoming a motor mechanic. So do you know anything about cars? I asked. So Anis Jung asked from Mukesh that do you know anything about cars? Because he says I will be a motor mechanic. I will learn to drive a car, he answers. So he replies that he will be like he'll like to learn to drive a car. And looking straight into my eyes, he looks into the eyes of Anis Jung, and his dreams looms like a mirage amidst the dust of streets that fills his town for Firozabad, famous for its bangles. So his dreams looms like means it weaves like a mirage that is not very useful, you can say, or it was waste. Mirage means which is not very productive. Amidst means in the middle of the dust of the streets. So where he lives, and in that town where Firozabad, famous for its bangle, and Firozabad is very famous for the bangles because every other family in Firozabad is engaged, means busy in making bangles. It is the center of India's glass blowing industry where families have spent generations working around furnaces, means like where the people, in hot temperature they burn fire and they do some kind of work like melting this glass and welding glass. Welding means joining and making bangles for all the women in the land, it seems. So it seems that all the bangles are being prepared in this city Firozabad, and then Mukesh family is among them. So Anis Jung describes here that Mukesh family is among these families. None of them know that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnaces with high temperatures in dingy cells without air and light. So Mukesh family is one of the families. They are in Firozabad. None of them know that, and they are unaware about this thing that it is illegal for children like him to work in the glass furnace because child labor, and it is illegal to take work from children with high temperatures. That too, it means they are working in very high temperature where furnaces are there. They burn like materials in the furnaces and then do the work of joining or welding glasses here. I have already explained it in dingy cells without air. Dingy means very we're suffocated kind of cells, means kind of room here, you can say, without air and light. So there is not proper air and light, and that the law if enforced. So here NSG describes that if law, you know take some responsibility, could get him out of those 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces where they slog their daylight hours. So here NSG describes that if laws or the officers or the high ranked officers related with law and authorities, they come into action, so they can take 20,000 children out of the hot furnaces, and they can do something in this regard where they slog means where they like work very hard in their daylight hours, often losing the brightness of their eyes, and they maximum time what happens that they lose their eyesight. Mukesh eyes beams as he volunteers to take me home. Me is who? Who is me? That Anis Jung. So Mukesh eyes beam means there is brightness as he volunteers, means very with his mind and heartedly he wants to take Anis Jung home, which he proudly says, and he very proudly says that it is being rebuilt. And what is that house? We walk down stinking lanes. Stinking means very foul smell. Lanes means streets. Chalked means like filled with garbage. Past homes that remain hovels with crumbling walls. And past homes means they pass by the homes that remain hovels means kind of you can say ditches with crumbling walls, and the walls conditions are not good. They are like broken walls, you can say wobbly doors. Doors are also making sounds, and they are not very strong enough. No windows, crowded with families of women and animals coexisting in a primeval state. Primeval means related with the uh, ancient time, that when people and animals live in the same house. So here, and the writer explains that they are living in a very pathetic condition. Now he stops at the door of one such house. Now Mukesh stops near a door, and that door, it relates his house. It relates with his house and bangs a wobbly iron door. Now he, opens the door with his foot and pushes it open. He instantly opens it with his feet, and we enter a half-built shack. Shack means a kind of hut, and that is not very good condition. Half-built. It is half-built, not properly built. It in one part of it thatched with dead grass. So they see like dead grass means a very dry grass, you can say, is a firewood stove, and there is a firewood stove where wood is kept to like for the this making food and cooking food, and which sits a large vessel, and there is very large vessel kind of utensil. A sizzling spinach lives. Sizzling spinach lives means the sound generated when we like cook something. And there spinach, that is a vegetable, green vegetable spinach, and on the ground in large aluminum platters are more chopped vegetables, and a very long kind of dish, or you can say that utensil is kept. There are more chopped vegetables, and chopped cut vegetables are there. A frail means very weak young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family, and this woman is very frail young woman is cooking the evening meal for the whole family. Through eyes filled with smoke, thus she smiles, and no doubt her eyes are filled with smoke because the food is being cooked at home, and she smiles. That frail young woman, she is the wife of Mukesh elder brother. So who is that lady? She is the wife of Mukesh elder brother, and then not much older in years, and she's not very like old, and she has begun to command respect as a bahu. So it is a Hindi word which has been taken by Jung. So she has begun to command means she has respect, like she is called bahu, the daughter-in-law in the house of the house. So she is called the daughter-in-law of the house, already in charge of three men. She is having the responsibility of three men: her husband, Mukesh, and their father. So she is the in charge, and she like does the work of these three male person. When the older man enters, and she gently withdraws behind the broken wall. So whenever the older man enters in the home, and she gently withdraws, so she keeps herself aside behind the broken wall and brings her veil. Veil means a kind of cloth which is you know used to cover the face closer to her face. So as custom demands, as system, because in earlier times also, if you know that and like bahu, you can say, as it is written here, they bring the cloth of their like whatever the dresses they used to wear, they bring that cloth before their face to hide their face. So as custom demands, daughters-in-law must veil their faces, and it has been written also that it is like it is the system of our culture that daughters-in-law must veil their faces before male elders. So in this case, the elder is an impoverished. Impoverished means here very weak. Impoverished means very weak. Bengal maker, despite long years of hard labor, and he has done very hard labor for the many years he has been doing, first as a tailor, So he was first as a tailor, then a bangle maker, and he has failed to renovate. Renovate means rebuild a house, send his two sons to school, and all he has managed. So he was unable to send his two sons. Who are two sons? One is Mukesh, elder brother, and second one is Mukesh. Now, and all he has managed to do is to teach them what he knows, and what he knows, you know very well, the art of bangle making bangles. So about whom we are talking about Mukesh father. Now it is his karma, it is his karma, his destiny is fortune, says Mukesh grandmother, who has watched her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles. So as I earlier said that they smoke their time, or their hard work in the daylight hours. So their eyesight become very weak before they become adult. You have been taught earlier also. So her own husband go blind with the dust from polishing the glass of bangles because this thing affects their eyes. Can a God-given lineage means system and ever be broken? She implies means here, indirectly she is saying this thing. Born in the caste of bangle makers, they have seen nothing but bangles. So they have seen nothing but bangles means they do not know anything about other things in the house, in the yard, in every other house, every other yard, every street in Firozabad. They have seen what? Only bangles. Now, spirals of bangles, sunny gold, pedigree. These are the colors they have seen in their surrounding: royal blue, pink, purple, every color born out of the seven colors of the rainbow. As you know, there are seven colors of the rainbow, so they have seen the seven colors of the bangles in their life, nothing else. Lie in mounds in unkempt yards. So here, mounds means heap, and unkempt means like they are kept in piles without proper order, are piled on four-wheeled hand carts. Hand carts means the people, you have seen people selling vegetables on hand carts, means they push. Four-wheeled hand carts means there are handles and they push that hand carts to sell their vegetables street to street, one street to other, pushed by young men along the narrow lanes of the shanty town. Shanty town means like very miserable condition town, or the huts or the houses of the town are very uh, like not good condition. They are having not good condition, and in dark hutments. Hutment means also huts. In dark hutments, why there is? Because there is no proper light. Next to lines of flames of flickering oil lamps. Next to the lines, when they go like in the lines means one in one house, and then in the other house, and then in the other house. So in the same manner, they see flames of flickering oil lamps. Even there are not proper lights and electricity. They work in the oil lamps. Sit boys and girls with their father and mothers. So they sit, all the boys and girls sit with their fathers and mother, welding pieces. Welding means joining pieces of colored glass into circles of bangles. Their eyes are more adjusted to the dark than to the light outside. This is very important sentence. There are their eyes are more adjusted to the dark. Why? Because they are working in the dark rather than in the light. So their eyes, like work mechanically, and their eyes are very fast and dark. That is why they often end up losing their eyesight before they become adults. So before they reach to the age of 18 or 20, they are where they lose their eyesight. So now the scene is changed. Savita, we are talking about Savita. She's a young girl in a drab means not very attractive pink dress, or you can say dirty. Drab means, and pink dress sits alongside an elderly woman. Soldiering means again joining pieces of glass. She is also doing this bangle related job, as her hands move mechanically. Mechanically means very fast, because she has been doing this work for a long time, like the tongs of a machine. So as a machine works, Savita works in the same manner. Now I wonder, Anis Jung says she is very surprised if she knows the sanctity. Sanctity means piousness of the bangles she helps make. Means Anis Jung is very surprised. She thinks that does she know the sanctity or piousness of the bangle? It symbolizes an Indian woman's suhag. Again, it is a Hindi word, so it is a like quality of Anis Jung. She is using Hindi words, means Devanagari Lipi in English, and then symbolizes an Indian woman's suhag, spaciousness, means like a good woman, prosperity, and in marriage, because these bangles are having a very special meaning in prosperity and in marriage. It will dawn on her suddenly one day when her head is draped. So it will dawn her on her means when she will be married one day when her head is draped. Draped means covered with a red veil. Veil means again that cloth which will cover his face. Her hands dyed red with henna, and her hands like whenever there is marriage of a girl, her hands are dyed red with henna, and red bangles rolled onto her wrist, and red bangles will be given to her too, so that she can wear these bangles, and she will then become a bride, and then she will become a bride of a bridegroom, like the old woman beside her, like that old woman who is like Mukesh mother, and who became one many years ago. So what happened with this old woman many years ago, the same thing will be happening with Savita, this girl. Yes, and now she has still bangles on her wrist. That old lady, she is having still these bangles on her wrist, but no light in her eyes. There is no light in her eyes, very important sentence, but she has bangles on her wrist. एक वक्त से भर खाना भी नहीं खाया. Very important sentence again in a Devanagari Lipi and in a Hindi. It has been mentioned by Anis Jung. She says in a voice drained of joy. Drained of joy means like there is no joy or lacking of joy. She has not enjoyed even the one full meal in her entire lifetime. Very important sentence. She has not eaten anything complete, or you can say she has not enjoyed even one full meal in her entire lifetime. That is what she has reaped. So what she has got, this is the result. Her husband, an old man with a flowing beard, and her husband, his beard is very long, says, I know nothing except bangles. And he says, when Anis Jung discusses with him, I know nothing except bangles. He says, I know nothing, only bangles I know. All I have done is to make a house for the family to live in. So here he says that whatever I have done, I have been able to make a house for my family so that they can live in. Hearing him, one wonders if he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime. So NHM describes here that one can wonder easily when one can be surprised when he has achieved what many have failed in their lifetime, because there are many poor people who work very hard, and for the full life, or for their whole life, they are not able to make like home for the family. He has a roof over his head. So this is the thing described by Anis Jung, the cry of not having money to do anything except carry on the business of making bangles. So here it will be better that if they like work of making bangles, rather than they cry that they are not having any money, but and not even enough to eat rings in every home. So this thing is available, not sorry available, this thing echoes in every from home, that they are having not particular business, and the young men echo the lament of their elders. Lament means makes excuses, that their elders are doing this thing, so they will do this the same job, means making bangles. So little has moved with time. Now little has moved with time means time has not changed anything, and all the things are same with the time. Before 20 years also the elders were making bangles, and now the situation is same. Their children are making bangles. It seems in Firozabad, years of mind-numbing toil. Mind-numbing toil means hard work. Mind-numbing means which destroys, like the hard work which destroys their mind. So they have been doing this work for many years, have killed all initiative, means they cannot take any step in this regard, so that they can do something other, or some productive job or some productive work, and the ability to dream. So they have lost the ability to dream. Even they cannot dream to do something new. Why not organize yourself into a cooperative? I ask a group of young men who have fallen into the vicious circle of middlemen. So here N.S. Jung asked, why not you organize yourself into a cooperative, means it's a group, because a group has power. And I ask, N.S. Jung asked from a group of young men who have fallen into the vicious, means very typical circle of middlemen, who trapped, means who had caught their fathers earlier and their forefathers and now their children. So even if we get organized, we are the ones who will be held up by the police, beaten and dragged to jail for doing something illegal. So here they say, who are they? The people who are working of this making of bangles. They say that if we get organized, means if they make a cooperative, definitely we are ones who will be held up by the police. So they are, according to them, they are saying that one day, the day is not far, that they will be caught and they will be put in behind the bars by the police, beaten, and they will be beaten and dragged to jail, and somebody will catch them, or authorities will catch them and put them into the jail for doing something illegal. And they say, why illegal? Because for children it is illegal, like if they work uh, before, when they become at the age of 18. So there is no leader among them, and no one who could help them see things differently. So Anijam here describes that there is no leader among them, and no one can help them to see the things differently and to do something, who can help them, that they or who can motivate them to do something differently. Their fathers are as tired as they are. She also describes that their fathers and the sons, the condition is same. Their fathers are tired, as well as their sons or their young ones are also tired. They talk endlessly in a spiral that moves from poverty to apathy, to greed, and to injustice. So here she says that they talk endlessly. Their discussion has no end, and in a spiral movement that revolves and revolves and moves, and there is no end of their discussion, from poverty to apathy. And it means that they are talking about their poverty condition and poor condition, and apathy means lack of interest, to greed, because they're very greedy. That in what sense? That they want work and they want money, and to injustice, and they are also fed up with injustice, and they do not want to, like, complain that they are not having facility, but on the other hand they want to do something else, and they want that authorities should come forward and take some steps in this regard. Listening to them, I see two distinct words. Very good and very important sentence. Listening to them, I see two distinct words. So here Ernest Jung describes that when I listen to them, I see there are two types of word. One of the family caught in the web. Web means like a kind of trap of poverty, burdened. So here she describes that one of the family caught in the web. They are trapped in the circle of poverty and burdened. They are pressured. They are in the pressure of, by the stigma of caste. There is a caste system also, and unfair dealing of caste, and because they are born in a very poor family, they are born, and the other is a vicious circle, means trapped and very, they are very you can say vicious circle, means they cannot come out of this thing. Vicious circle, when they are trapped from all around, all directions, and of the sahukars. Again, the Hindi word has been used by this Anish Jung, the middlemen and the policemen and the keepers of law and the bureaucrats and the politicians. So all the meanings you know, I think. And middlemen means like contractors, policemen, you know very well. And the keepers of law means the authorities who take care of law, and the bureaucrats means any high rank officers, and the politicians. Together they have imposed the baggage of on the child, and that he cannot put down, and they together they have imposed, means they have pressurized the burden, the baggage on the child, because this chapter is based on child labor, and that he cannot put down. And this thing the child cannot put down because, sorry, before he is unaware, so he does not know anything, and he is unaware that it is illegal to work in a very pathetic condition, not in a very pathetic condition, but it is totally illegal to work for a child whose age is below 18. And he accepts it as naturally as his father, and he confesses, he admits it as his father admitted it. So because his father was also doing the same thing, like bangle making, so the children or the sons and daughters, they also accept it without any objection. To do anything else would mean to dare. And when, so here they also have the view that if they want to do anything else, it means to dare, to have courage, and daring is not a part of his growing up. So here, and daring is not a part of his growing up means, like, if they are, they want to grow up, and if they dare, if they, boldly they say something, so definitely they will be objected, and they will not be given any kind of work by the middlemen and by the contractors. When I sense a flash of it in Mukesh, I am cheered. So Mukesh, who is Mukesh? The same person who says that I want to drive a car. When I sense, I am any junk sense, because she sees a different flash, a kind of motivation in Mukesh, and she is very happy. I want to be a motor mechanic, he repeats. Again, Mukesh repeats that he wants to be a motor mechanic. He doesn't want to work on bangles, making bangles. He will go to a garage, and he says to Anis Jung that definitely one day he will be going to garage and learn this thing, that how he can be a motor mechanic. He will get training, but the garage is a long way from his home, and this garage is not very near, and I will walk, he insists. And he says this thing with pressure, that I will walk there, and I will learn this training. I will learn how to correct the car or any kind of vehicle. So do you also dream of flying a plane? It is the question asked by Anis Jung. Do you also dream of flying a plane? He is suddenly silent. Why he is suddenly silent? Because an agent asks a question that is beyond his reach. And no, he says, and here Mukesh replies that no. He says, staring at the ground, and his eyes are looking towards the ground, and in his small murmur, murmur means he speaks very slowly, there is an embarrassment. Embarrassment means sadness that has not turned into regret. Sadness is there in his tone, but that sadness has not turned yet into regret. Regret means like pain, and he is content, means satisfied to dream of cars. He is very happy that he is dreaming of cars, and he wants to be a motor mechanic that he sees hurtling down the streets, because he sees that the cars are moving in his town from one place to other in a very speedy manner, and few airplanes fly over Firozabad. So here the story ends with this sentence. Few means a very, not very, hardly any. Few, hardly any airplanes fly over Firozabad. So this was the chapter, and is written by Anis Jung, Lost Spring. So I hope you have understood it. And if there is any problem, you can comment me. Please like my video, share my video, and hit likes as many as you want. Thank you.